What's good, y'all? This is your boy Holiday. Welcome back, y'all. And man, the first time ever. Well, I've done it before in kids when I was in the youth league, but I don't count that. But I fucking scored zero. I scored zero in one of my men's league, one of my men's games. And I'll tell you something. It is not a good feeling at all, especially when it was a game that could have been won, where we know exactly what we need to do to beat them at this point. But at this point, like, it's something to put aside and just know that we are. Um, and by we, it's just like my team. It's just like we move past it. They're telling me not to worry about it. I'll tell you something. I was one of the first people. I sat on the bench for a little bit, tried to regain myself. I tried not to cry in front of my teammates too. I'll tell you something. It was not a good feeling at all. It was one of the saddest and one of the most emotional feelings I had because I try so hard to try to win games. I do whatever I can to help, like, do whatever it is I can to make sure I do whatever I can to help my team win, and I'll do anything to help my team win games. So what happened was it was just I took so many threes. I took one layup, but I missed a lot of 3 pointers. Like, it was open threes, some contested threes. I wasn't able to do the stuff that I would normally do to actually get myself points. But let's just say it was a nightmare today too. And for the people that come up to me and say like it's rare of you, like, if y'all want to know what some of them said or what was their reaction, like, it's in it's on my IG. Go follow my Instagram at game2pure_94. So now, how to bounce back from a game where you score zero, or when you've had a very poor performance, even when you have scored. You could score 0 points, but if you get like 10 rebounds, 10 assists, you had a good game. So it's like, it's not always about scoring. But in my case, like, I had to at least score and do all the other things. Even if I don't score the way I want to, at least I gotta try to get myself on the board too. So, with that being said, um, what can I say? Yeah, how to avoid that. Now, let me go get my water. It's right over here, real quick. Ugh, I almost fell on the couch. Oh man. All right. So. Okay. So. What I encountered when I've had bad performances, I haven't done this lately, but whenever I've had very bad games, it always depends. Sometimes the game doesn't require you to score. Sometimes the game requires you to do other things that the game needs you to do. And I play basketball, for people that don't know, but it's so. Oh, sorry. I'm just sorry, Joe. I'm filming this a little bit late, but so then what you want to do is when you try to make an impression in the next game, you don't want to come out straight out, shoot every shot, try to do every play, get so crazy on the court, try to do every single move possible, get yourself on the board. That is not a way to be able to bounce back from the previous game. How it's originally supposed to be done is, excuse me, my apologies. Is that you gotta contradict yourself. I just watched this YouTube video of how to bounce back from a very bad basketball game, and I've seen this from so many NBA players. I've seen this from LeBron. I've seen this from Kevin Durant. I've seen this from Steph Curry. I've seen this from Klay Thompson. I've seen this from Russell Westbrook. I've seen it from James Harden. I've seen it from every NBA All Star, and I've seen it from every NBA great. Like, I've seen them have very poor games right in front of me. It happens to the best of us. There are gonna be some. I've seen it happen to Kyle Lowry, and Kyle Lowry has scored zero before. I've seen it happen to Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid did score zero before. So, that stuff will happen. So I'm here to tell y'all. It's not what they did. Like, I'd rather score zero knowing that I missed every single shot before scoring zero knowing someone locked me down. Because the reason being is that they did a great strategy to help them win the game, and as to why they were able to become successful, not that how they became successful was I missed a lot of shots, and there were some other plays that to add along with it because they were going on the run at one point too. So, with that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that I missed a lot of shots. I If you gave me at least 10 threes, I missed all of them. That's how exactly what it is. Hey, like have you ever say to someone like, "Oh, go ahead and shoot a bunch of shots," like you're like, or if you say like you're bound to make one. That was not the case being today. It was very tough. It was very very tough, and I'll admit that to you from a very honest person. And don't get surprised when you say I scored zero. I've had games where I scored 12 points. I've had games where I scored 14 points. So I have games like where I scored like 21 points. Like I've only had one 21 point game, 20 plus point game this season. And if I lost that game but I won this game, I'd be mad about scoring 21 points and losing than scoring 0 points and winning. Like if I won a championship right now, I didn't score a single basket or a single foul shot, but we won the championship. I wouldn't get mad. I'd be mad at myself for not doing better, and saying that it could have been a lot easier, but I would still take responsibility. As to why I'm being upfront and saying that it happens. So there's this thing, as I did mention before, there's this thing called self contradiction in a situation like that, to where just like you don't want to think about the last game that you had where you had a terrible performance, but you want to go ahead and use that to your next game, to where it's just you want to have that sour taste in your mouth. You want to have something to light a fuel in your fire, or add fuel to your fire. That's how you say it. And you want to be able to engage your mind into wanting it more than the other. I think after this game, it's going to make me realize that I'm going to want it more than the other. If you want to talk about defense, my defense was probably spectacular. I didn't really get scored on very often. But other than that, I did what I was supposed to. Locking, like, with the guys that I guarded, I was doing very well. So I made sure that I did my job on defense, even if I wasn't able to score, and I grabbed some rebounds and made some very good assists. So it was a terrible game for me still, but at least I tried to make it up in other ways. But when the team needs me to score, I got to score. So that's when I'm gonna use the sour taste in my mouth. I'm not gonna be able to think about scoring like zero. I'm not gonna think about like, oh, I'm afraid to score zero again. Like, just put that aside. Like games like that are bound to happen. Like, ooh. So moving forward, it's like you want to be able to play the game to where it's just like you want to step on their throats. You want to play like, and that's the way to move forward. Like, you want to play a game to step on their necks, making sure that anything that you do to make a statement against the next team is that you are showing that, and you're making a statement from the last team you had a bad performance against, is that I will not back down. I will make sure that, and I will not fail my team again. And this is exactly the mindset I'm gonna have. Is that I'm not gonna fail my team again. I'm not gonna fail my team to where I let my team get into a position that they were because of my missed shots. Now I have been in the slump lately, and I haven't really had the best season so far too. I've had good glimpses of some good points here and there, but not consistently. So this is a time where I really gotta step up and excuse me. I gotta be able to make my presence known. So the way to avoid, for everyone watching, the way to avoid from that happening again is to come out stronger. Like, don't think about the last game, but think about the last game. You don't want to think about the bad parts of the last game, but you also want to think about the game to where it's just like, I'm not going to have this bad performance again. And that every shot you take, it's going to be full of confidence. It's going to be full of a stronger mentality. And it's going to have the idea where you're going to tell the defense, you cannot guard me. Even when it's an open shot, even have that mindset that you can't guard me. Even when you score 10 open threes, that'll tell you, you can't guard me. Have that mindset. Have a back down, don't give a fuck mentality. And yes, I said it that way. And I have the age set to 18 and up so that people can learn this. But if you all heard that, I said it that way. Like, you don't want to give any type of fucks when it comes to you wanting it more. And this is the time where you guys say to yourself, I want it more. I want to make sure that when I go on that basketball court, I'm going to have it in the back of my mind that when having that bad game, I'm going to come back, right back, and score on them. I'm going to lead my team with defense, rebounding, passing, scoring, intangibles, stealing, diving for loose balls, all of that. So after the game, I went home and cried. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I just straight up cried and went home. So I went home, cried, drank a beer, washed out my sorrows, and I posted my story. People were in good support, making sure they had my bag, making sure that, it's just another game. It's bound to happen. That doesn't mean that you're garbage and all that stuff. If people tell me that I am garbage after a 0-point game when anyone has scored 0, then let that be the case then, because I don't get sensitive to stuff like that. Everyone has their own opinion. People could think that I'm garbage. People could think that I'm very good. People could think that I'm okay, and people could think that I'm great. But whatever your opinion that you have, it's your opinion. But for the people that try to motivate me, say that you're still a good basketball player and all that stuff too, is the comments I'm going to listen to. But I'm also going to listen to the people that say, oh, you suck, you're trash, and all that stuff too. I use that as motivation because one of my better games is when I've been told I was trash, and I just came out of nowhere and just scored. So moving forward is that I wiped those tears off. I've had the lovely messages from all my supporters and from the people watching, and even from the opposing team. One of their players said, it's just another game. Don't get yourself so down on that. You put too much pressure on yourself. Thank you. Thank you so much. So now I'm just going to go ahead, put the work in. I'm going to actually try to put the work in and let my presence known for the next game. I am not, it's a fluke, as I'm going to say. I'm going to make it known that the last game was a fluke, which was this past game. And I'm going to put it aside and say to myself, it happened in regular season. It is definitely not happen in playoffs. And I promise you that. And it's not happening moving forward where I scored 0 again. So I'm not afraid to say that I scored 0. I'm saying that as a humble man with full responsibility as to why we lost that game. So I love you all. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to see y'all later. Holla at me later. Yeah.